Hi, my name is Hannah. I am from Sarasota, Florida. Growing up, I've always been very active in a lot of sports and dancing. I love outdoor activities and pretty much anything that causes a really good adrenaline rush. I do, however, have a secret, and not a lot of people know the secret that I'm about to share with you. When I was 13 years old, I noticed that I started to pull my hair out. This was something I would do consciously and sometimes unconsciously. I very distinctly remember one night waking up and seeing a pile of hair next to my head that I had actually pulled out myself while I was asleep. What was horrible was it seemed that no matter what I tried to do, I could never make myself stop. It never worked. I tried hiding this for quite a while from my mom and from my friends. After about 2 years of pulling my hair out, my mom finally said to me that she noticed there was a spot in the front of my head that seemed to be getting thinner. And I had very long, thick, curly hair and was able to really manipulate it. So for my mom noticing, was a big blow to me. And I finally had to look at her and face my mom and tell her that for the past 2 years, I had been pulling my hair out. She started taking me to different doctors and psychologists to try to see what was wrong. They ran many tests on me. Was put on many medications. And the hardest part in all of that was that not one doctor or one person could look at me and tell me what I was going through. There was no name for it. As far as I was concerned, I was the only person on the face of the planet that ever dealt with this. As far as my mom was concerned, I was the only person dealing with this. And it was a question of why. Why can't I just stop? A very hard part on top of going between all of these doctors and dealing with not knowing was the amount of teasing that was beginning to happen. Being stared at a lot and going from somebody who was told I was so beautiful and was in high regard to now looking in the mirror and thinking that I looked like a boy or thinking that I was just this hideous person. The confidence I once had was destroyed. By the time I was 17 years old, my hair was so bad I could no longer compete in skating. I could no longer dance because it became too hard. I had to get a wig. And doing those things, wearing a wig, was next to impossible. I was constantly afraid of it getting hit off. There were a couple times it was, and it was the most humiliating experience. When I was 18 years old, I started to babysit for my pastor and his wife. And one night when I was babysitting, there are 3 girls. I had put them all in bed and just went out in the living room and was sitting down, and I just kind of started thinking about my hair, and I just felt overwhelmed, and I started crying sitting on the couch. And it turned out that my pastor and his wife were coming home early from their date to find me sitting on the couch crying and kind of hysterical. So my pastor's wife came over and she sat down next to me. And she just looked at me and she said, "Hannah, what's wrong? What's going on with you?" And I never told anybody at all costs. I did not want to tell anyone about my hair. But for some reason, this night, when she looked at me and asked me what was going on, I just felt like I was supposed to tell her. And I felt good about telling her. And I totally opened up. I told her everything I had been going through for so many years and how it was making me feel and how hopeless I felt. And she looked at me and she had this almost like a little smile on her face when I was finished telling her, and she said, "Well, Hannah, did you know that this isn't my hair?" And I could not believe that was not her hair. She had gorgeous long blonde hair. She had it straight one day, curly the next, wore it up, did all these different styles. There is no way that I would ever think that that was not her hair. I could never do anything with my hair. It was one way all the time and it looked horrible. And so I just told her, "How on earth is that not yours?" And she said that she struggled for many years with early female pattern baldness. And it actually started with her as a girl in high school. And she told me she found a salon in Tampa that was able to help her and that they dealt specifically with women's hair loss. It was literally 2 days later. I went with her to her appointment, and the owner of the salon, Bobby Russell, came in, And she sat down with me and she asked if she could take a look at my head and see my hair as it was. And that was the hardest thing for me to do, was to just pull my hair off in front of this stranger. I hadn't even let Amber see me yet without my wig on. So I was doing this in front of all these people, and it was very hard. I cried. It took about 5 minutes to actually get that thing off of my head. And she walked over to me, and she was just kind of looking at my head for a little bit, and then she looked me right in the eyes and said, "Hannah, do you know that what you have is called trichotillomania?" And I said, "What? It's called what?" I couldn't believe that somebody knew what I was going through. Her telling me that at that moment, to this day, is one of my highlights of my life. The hardest thing about having Trich was not only the fact that I felt like I was destroying myself, but the fact that I felt like I was the only one out there doing that, and there was absolutely no hope. And for the first time, I was not only told that there was a name for what I had, I was also told that it affected over 3.5 million people every year, and that it is a genetic disorder, that it's an actual gene that you were born with. And knowing that it wasn't just, for the first time, me being crazy or being some mental person who's wanting to harm themselves, because I never felt like that was what it was. But now I knew. I knew there were other people like me. I knew that there was now help for me. I knew that there was now hope. Very shortly after going to that meeting with Bobby, I ended up, becoming a client of the salon, and she helped me amazingly with my hair, and I have now been able to recover more hair than I ever thought was possible. And after getting my hair and just being able to have so much of my hair recovered, the confidence that I lacked, that was torn down, was finally back. I was once again that confident girl, and I was skating, and I even went skydiving, and I went to New York City to dance. I was actually performed in Times Square with a dance company, which was something that I never thought was going to happen for me again. After being able to experience all of these wonderful things again and have my confidence built up, I knew that I could not keep quiet about my secret anymore, and that I wanted to be able to help girls all over that were just like me. And I wanted to let them know that they're not alone. I want them to know what this is, that you're not crazy, that this is a genetic disorder, that there is hope, there is help, and you can be a strong, confident woman. And that is my goal in life now, is to make that known and to tell that to as many people as I possibly can. I came back from New York, and Bobby was thinking I was going to end up moving there. And I told her, dance is no longer my greatest goal in life. My new goal is to be a spokesperson about trichotillomania. My goal is to help all of the other men and women who suffer with this and let them know that there's hope for them, and to help them cosmetically, just as the Women at Hair Therapy for Women did for me. I know that my next step to this is I want to become a licensed cosmetologist and be able to do their hair and transform them in that way, as well as being able to speak with them like the women here did for me. When I expressed this to Bobby, she told me that I needed to come work here. And I said, "Really? You want me to come now? You want me to start working for you now? I'm not even licensed." And she said, "You're starting here. You'll start as secretary, but you're coming." So within 1 week, I quit my job, moved to Tampa from Sarasota, and started anew. And because no one should ever have to suffer as I did in high school, my goal is to talk to as many people as I can. And everyone seeing this now, that is what I want you to see. I want you to see me as I was and know that you can be the new person that you're seeing right now.